Hi there. Today we're going to be talking about interviewing. So let's say that you apply for a job or a position and you're invited to interview. Now what? Make sure you review the job posting so that you're clear on the skills and qualifications they're looking for. Maybe you applied to the role weeks ago and so you kind of forget. That's okay, but it's really, really important that when you apply for a job, you save a copy of the job posting as a PDF or as a Word doc, Google Doc, or anything like that. The job link that you use to apply may get taken down. So it's important that you have the job posting in a different format so you can review it, especially the responsibilities of the person in this role and the qualifications of what they're looking for in somebody. Make a plan to get to the interview at least 15 minutes early. You never know, sometimes there's traffic or little delays, so you want to make sure you build in a bit of buffer time. It's very normal to arrive a bit early, so there's likely a waiting area or something like that. Make sure you know what building you're in, the parking lot to be at. If you're not sure of those things, that's really normal to ask. So go ahead and ask the point of contact at the organization any clarifying questions you have to make sure you're ready. Or if it's on Zoom or Teams, for example, make sure that your technology is up to date, so there's no updates or anything like that right when you're ready to interview. Print 2 or 3 copies of your resume to bring with you. You may or may not end up handing these out, but it's really good to have so that you can hand them out if needed. And then we recommend practice answering typical interview questions. We don't know exactly what questions you're going to be asked, but there's types of questions that are typically asked, and you can start preparing for those. So we have a couple of resources on our website that you can use, as well as you can do practice interviewing with one of our career specialists. However you choose to practice, maybe you're jotting down notes or things like that, that's great. But what's most important, what I really recommend is that you practice speaking it as well. That can be on your own to a voice memo on your phone, to a family member or friend, or to a career specialist. Any of those is fine. So what else should you do before the interview? You should research the company, including their mission, their values, and their recent news. How are they communicating themselves online? Because in order for you to be able to say that you're a great fit for the company, you need to not only know about yourself and your skills and your abilities, but you need to know a bit about them. Create 2 or 3 thoughtful questions to ask about the role or the company. You will likely be asked if you have any questions, and it's really important that you ask at least 1 or 2 questions. You're also interviewing them too. Is that a place that you want to work? Some of the best questions are the ones that are specific for the job you're applying for based on what you know about their company or about the position. But some other general questions could be, can you tell me more about the team I'd be working with? What growth opportunities are there in this role? What does success look like in this role? Those are a little bit general, but they go a little bit deeper than something you could have just looked up yourself on the website or on the job posting. We want to avoid very simple questions like those. You have to decide what you are going to wear as well, and we're going to go into that on the next slide. And we have a guide called Dress for Success, and it's a general guideline. There's no one correct way to dress. If you're applying to be a bike mechanic, that might be different than if you're applying to be a financial analyst. But in general, you want to dress professionally. You want to err on the side of more formal, and that can often include a nice shirt, maybe a nice jacket, skirts, pants, dress shoes, that type of thing. Generally, something like solid colors can be nice. If you want to add a pop of color, that's totally fine. But in general, we want to make sure that what we're wearing isn't distracting from the conversation. The most important thing about that conversation is what's being said. So we want to look nice and professional such that it's not any sort of distraction. That's something we also would be happy to talk more with you about, as it could be a little bit nuanced for your position, but these are some general guidelines. So then let's say it's interview day. We have some additional tips. It's typical to greet the interviewer with a smile and a firm handshake. Speak confidently, listen attentively, and ask questions. It's okay to pause and gather your thoughts before answering. Maybe they say, tell me about a time you had to creatively solve a problem. And yes, maybe you've practiced answering that question, but maybe you need a moment to think about which example you'd like to give, or just an extra second. You could say, thank you for that question. Let me think about a good example, or something like that. It might feel like the pause is super long, but it is totally normal to take a pause. And then that way, when you're answering, you can speak confidently rather than starting out with a ramble. So even if you don't feel super confident, do your best to pause and then project confidence as much as you can while also listening whenever they're speaking. Be mindful of your body language. A huge part of communication is nonverbal. It's typically expected that you're going to have eye contact, sit up straight, avoid fidgeting. If you're someone who eye contact isn't safe or comfortable for, just note that. You could say, I'm someone who looks down when I'm thinking, but I'm still very interested. Or maybe you're somebody who needs to fidget. Practice ahead of time finding a fidget that's maybe in your pocket or below the table such that it's not distracting. We want your body language to come off as confident and professional. One option for what you could do with your hands or as they're speaking is to take a few notes to help you stay engaged and remember important details or follow-up questions. I do not recommend taking extensive notes during the interview because you want to be really present in the conversation, but maybe they note down something about their company or you have a question that you want to ask, you want to make sure you jot that down. That's totally normal. Avoid discussing salary or remote or hybrid work until after you've received an offer. They may bring it up, so you should be prepared to talk about it. But in general, when they ask for initial questions, it's best if you're asking questions about the culture, the team, the work, and then you could talk about salary and flexibility at a later time. So let's say you do the interview. Awesome, you did it. But there's still just a couple more steps. Within 24 to 48 hours, send a thank you email or note to each interviewer. To be able to do that, one of the things I like to write down during interviews is the first and last name of each interviewer. That way you'll be able to find their email for the thank you email. Personalize it by referencing a specific detail from the conversation. If you say thank you for your time, that's great. But if you say thank you for your time, I really enjoyed learning more about this, or the comment you made about this thing. I enjoyed this part of the company culture. I'd be excited to be a part of that. One thing you can do is set a reminder on your phone or your calendar for the day after the interview so that you remember. Please also note that it's normal for hiring decisions to take longer than expected. You may not hear back right away. Maybe the person interviewing you was sure they were going to get back to you by the end of the week, but it just took a little bit longer. It takes time to interview all the candidates, make decisions, coordinate with human resources. But if their expected timeline has passed, if they say they'll get back to you by the end of the week, if the next week has come, maybe give them an extra day or two, but it's okay to send a polite email requesting an update on their decision or their timeline. So that's something you can do as well, but just note that these things take time. Thank you. We'll be looking forward to working with you more on your interviewing.